delighted to host none other than Njeru Karauna. Mr. Njeru Karauna is a management consultant with 20 years experience. He has worked in advising financial institutions, small and medium enterprises. He has advised these bodies in terms of corporate governance and business management. So today we have the opportunity of having to listen to him. His CV is so huge. He runs a series dubbed Mind Your Business. Mind Your Business is literally whatever you'll need in terms of when you're starting a young business. He's been an advisor both locally and international. He's worked for international corporations, key among them PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, and the Southern Credit Banking Corporation, the National Bank of Kenya. He sits in several boards, both locally and internationally. So Mr. Njeru Karauna is a graduate of Nairobi University. I know you keep saying it's the University of Nairobi. And he's a graduate of, he holds certifications in marketing and business technology. So today, without much ado, my name is George Okenyo Omwansa, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya with 13 years post-admission experience. I'm your host today, and I'll be assisted by the moderator, who I believe is online now. I can see Sabina Elijah. So Sabina Elijah, thank you for joining in, and to all the members who've joined in, thank you very much. I'm hoping this is going to be a very educative and informative session. We plan to spend not more than 1 hour. So the moderator, Sabina Elijah, you'll read the charts that will be down there so that as we go on, we are able to capture everyone's comments and questions if need be. So, Mr. Njeru Karauna, karibu sana.
Asante.
We are very eager to listen to this show.
Thank you, Wakili.
Thank you.
So shall we get started?
Yes, we can start. We can get started. We can get started. I'm holding a copy of your book. This is the book we are talking about. It's titled Mind Your Business: How to Start and Run a Sustainable and Profitable Business. He's the author. I've had a read of this wonderful book, and I'll encourage anyone else to get in touch. Yeah, thank you.
So I think, thank you, Wakili, for that nice introduction. Some of those aspects that you've talked about. What I'd like to do is, first of all, say thank you very much, those of you who have found some time to come and share with us. The modern times we are living in, the opportunity to employ ourselves will continue becoming bigger than the opportunity to work in other corporations. Now, employing ourselves essentially means getting into business. Now, we observe all the time people who are very acclaimed in what they do, a very acclaimed doctor, a very acclaimed engineer. They do very well in their jobs. But when they come around to start a business, something doesn't seem to work right. And you've seen big businesses tumbling. And when you look at the people on those boards, they have got sterling performance, sterling CVs. So where really is the problem? My intention is to make the people in this forum understand what is the broad scope of the issues that somebody is trying to do a business must take care of, and that should give you the appetite to read more, maybe read this book and other books which have got that information, watch videos, research, but at least you do know what it is that what is involved in running a business. There is something called under management in business. Now, undermanagement can be compared to malnutrition. When a child does not get enough food, the child does not develop well because the body does not get enough nutrition. Now, even a business that does not receive enough management input eventually is affected, doesn't grow, or sometimes even closes down. The problem though is, when I say complete management input, what does that mean? Do we all know? Now, today we are speaking with advocates who probably might be somewhere along the way of setting up their businesses. Now, of course, for you to be admitted as an advocate, there is no doubt you've qualified, you've learned, you've got the skill, you've got the knowledge. But having that knowledge could be something separate from having the knowledge of actually running a business. So let's now get into it, and then we see how far we can cover during this short session. The first thing maybe to introduce this conversation is just to make a short list of what it is that we are going to cover today. So for today, I will deal with 3 broad issues of setting the conversation. We'll discuss what I call the business ecosystem. Where does the business exist? We shall touch on the idea of strategic planning, and then we shall use some time understanding the scope of business activities, so that when you as a business person, you are thinking about your business, you are sure that you have covered all of them. Now, the business ecosystem looks like this. You see, businesses don't exist in a vacuum. When you set up your law firm is a business which has got relationships with other entities, but this diagram here shows the typical relationships that a normal business, a limited liability company will have. So there will be shareholders, who are the people who put in the capital. There will be directors, who are the small committee that is elected by shareholders at what is called an annual general meeting for them to look after the affairs of that business. Then there will be a management, which is usually led by a CEO, a chief executive officer, and the CEO will employ the workers. On the one side, there will be customers who the business serves, because every business is created to serve a particular group of people. Then there will be many other stakeholders, governments, civil society groups, all sorts of people involved in the business. Now, this is covered in a long course that we conduct called corporate governance. So for right now, I just needed you to see how the ecosystem looks like. So now, before we go into the conversation for today, I want us to discuss briefly the idea of a strategic plan. A lot of businesses never grow or don't grow to full potential because the people who started them had no idea of what it is they really want to achieve in the fullness of time. For example, you might say, today I want to start a law firm where I'm probably myself and an assistant, and in 5 years I want to have a firm which has got 10 advocates serving 100 clients. That short sentence becomes your strategic plan. So all the things that you will do in between will be guided by what you want to achieve in the period that you already defined. Now, later on we'll mention something about business planning and all those things, but most important is what we call a strategic plan. You see, in life, you cannot go to Nakuru through Meru, because I think the people who are here are Kenyan people, they understand the Kenyan geography. You must choose where you're going so that all your efforts are traveling in that general direction. So even you, when you are starting your farm today, sit down on your own, ask yourself, what exactly do I want to achieve in this period of time. So that vision forms your general roadmap of all the work that you will do. Then there are some other things that we shall get into at a much or in one of the future sessions, where you ask yourself, what is it about me that makes me suitable for doing this business? What are the resources around me? So we'll have a conversation called a SWOT analysis, a strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat analysis, which is another long conversation which cannot go into today's discussion. Then, if the business that you are running, you are not starting alone. Maybe you are like 10 advocates. You may not all of you be able to manage the business together. Some of you may not even be physically available in the business. So you might choose a smaller committee to be looking after the affairs of the firm. Then the others either produce capital or support the business by getting clients, etc. So you need to define what's the responsibility of that small group to the rest of the investors. Now, here is what was the conversation for today. All businesses can be seen from a perspective of what I call 4 pillars. Now, within these 4 subtopics here, you can actually map out any business. Let's say, for example, there is a school. A school is licensed by the government to operate. That is legal affairs. A school provides education. That is now its business development activities. We're going to be going into a bit more conversation on each of these. Then the school has classrooms, it has got teachers, it has got procedures. So that is its operations. Then the school receives money, spends money, and makes profit. That is its finance. So any business you think about, think of the Central Bank of Kenya. It's licensed under the Central Bank Act. It provides the services of controlling financial institutions. It levies them fees for its work. It has a governor. It has got a building called the Central Bank of Kenya. It has got processes. Then at the end of the year, they do their accounts. You can map these 4 items into, okay? So even your own farm that you're going to create, as we'll see shortly, it can be mapped into all these things. Now what happens with the entrepreneurs, sometimes they are good at one thing. Maybe you are very good in marketing. You spend all your energy in marketing, then you ignore operations. Yet operations are the backbone of what makes your business to work. I will not spend a lot of time on legal affairs because my audience are advocates. Actually, I should be learning law from them. But I will still show you, because this teaching is usually for businesses generally. I will show you what we discuss. Also, because you are also advisors to businesses, you'll be able to see how do ordinary people need to interact, ordinary business that are your clients, how they need to interact with law in Kenya. So, a typical business will have a broad range of legal affairs. So this will be probably a selection of the legal issues that business deal with. They get incorporated, they have got relevant laws, there are laws which are industry specific, there are laws which are of general application. Then internally they have got contracts, agreements, they are part of professional bodies, they are bylaws. I think this I believe this is what you guys do on a day-to-day basis. So we will not really spend much time on that, yeah? So, now let's get to the real thing. Businesses are created to solve problems. To solve problems in a way that they make a profit. Because if they solve problems and they don't make a profit, then they will not sustain themselves. Okay? So, the first thing you need to ask yourself is, what problem am I solving? You're setting yourself as an advocate. What real problem are you solving? Where is that problem? You're setting yourself as an advocate maybe in Nakuru or in Meru or some other town away from the capital. What problem have you seen that is not really being fully solved? maybe there are very few advocates in that town. So the ones who are there are overwhelmed. Maybe there's another problem, but you must specifically ask yourself, what problem am I solving? Who is willing to pay for it? That problem I'm solving, is there somebody willing to pay for it? In businesses sometimes, there's something we call imagined demand, where a businessman thinks of something they can sell, and they say, this thing is so good, everybody should take it. But it is in their imagination. So how we transcend from that particular space is by doing what we call a market research. So you say, okay, I want to be an advocate in aviation law. Let's just take something less common. So how many customers are there for aviation law? Is there a need actually in this market for somebody to practice that in that area of law? Then you now say, okay, the only people that would be interested in my services would be the ones who are in the airline business. So now you have segmented that your customers are only owners of airlines. You see, now where are they located? You'll find probably in Kenya, owners of airlines are located only in Nairobi. So probably there is no point of going to set up in Murang'a to practice aviation law. I'm just being extreme just to make the point. Okay? Then you ask yourself, how many are these customers actually? You know, there could be, or you could be doing some work which has got only one customer, for example. So that means that when the customer is not giving you briefs, then you're out of business. So do I have enough population of customers that can sustain me, can give me enough work and give me enough money for me to stay employed? Yeah. Now, am I practicing in a place where the customs allow? For example, am I practicing Islamic law in a dominantly Christian environment like Njeru? Right now, for example, Njeru is known to be a Christian area. Now, am I going to practice Islamic law there? So these are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Then who is there? What competition is there? How many other people are practicing? How many other people are doing the same thing? Because of expanded education in Kenya, very many people are qualifying to become advocates. So you need to ask yourself, the space of law mentoring, what's a competition like? How are the players who went before me established? How will I come up? Okay? Then you ask yourself, now this is where you choose. You choose within this opportunity space, what do I want to offer? Sometimes businesses can become extremely good in offering one particular service. For example, you could say, for example, be handling succession law. So you become so good in succession law that anytime that word is mentioned, your name comes to mind. I believe there are a few of your colleagues who have distinguished themselves in criminal law. When a criminal matter is mentioned, we already can figure out which advocate is likely to be associated with that particular area of practice. Okay. Then you ask yourself, now that I've decided to practice that area of law, what do I know about it? I have seen advocates who branch out and they go into they study medicine. So they practice law in medicine. I have seen advocates who are bankers. At least I have a few colleagues in the bank who are advocates. So they practice banking law or finance sector laws because of that. Others have studied insurance. So you beef up. In fact, the most common is accounting. There are very many lawyers who are accountants, CPSs, because the foundation of a lot of legal work is finance. So what is your unique position? What is it that you have? Yeah. Then how will you be offering that service? How will you be creating that process? We'll be discussing that a little bit further in this conversation. Now, here is a good one. forget the sales side. I've been served in very many legal situations. But one of the things I must confess I've never been able to get is how much will it cost? I have never been able to. You see, I have a matter and I want to be attended. The typical question in all industries, you ask, this particular undertaking, how much will it cost me? The common answer is, we will know as we go along. And if you look at there are quite a few disputes I see on legal fees. Yeah. I see matters to do with legal fees appearing in court. That problem has to do with the fact that customers or clients are exposed to an environment where they have no idea what it will cost. I don't know whether that is within your capability as legal practitioners, but it's very, very, very important to think of how to communicate the costs to people as they are engaging with you. There could be some issues where it is easy to come with a price or a known price. There could be issues where it is not easy. For example, you might have a fee for incorporating a company. So if you incorporate my company, which has got the same characteristics as my friend's company, it's reasonable that I pay the same thing my friend paid. It doesn't matter how I looked when I came to the office. Yeah, I come to the office. Because what actually happens is that when you price differently for different people, they don't come back to tell you, but they develop a bad feeling. People feel that you took advantage of me because maybe I was wearing a suit. I should have come in jeans so that you could price me differently. So pricing is a very complex area of study. We studied this like nearly half a semester in the university, just the price theory. Now, I would describe two approaches to pricing, which you colleagues who are on the call now might think this. First of all, in business is what we call penetration pricing. Penetration pricing is the idea where you say, let me price my services a little lower so that I can enter the market. Once I'm in the market, I can adjust my prices as I choose who my clients will be. That is a very common method of businesses entering a market. Okay, you can also price your services very, very high and out of reach, so that only selected customers come to you. I have a client who is in IT. If you go to them and give them a brief, they first ask you, have you asked anybody else about this problem? And they tell you, as we solve the problem, which no other IT company in Kenya can solve. If other people can solve it, we don't solve it. But they are very pricey. Now you see, that is their approach. They serve few customers, but they make, so they are advocates, I'm sure, among your colleagues, who handle one major case every 5 years. We can guess which case that one is.
That must be the presidential election petition.
And then the rest of the 5 years, they are happy. They are preparing for the next case. So it's a business strategy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So your price sometimes profiles you as where you want to be. Again, this will be a subject of a proper discussion at a different time. Now here is a biggie. Here is a really biggie. At some point, it used to be conventional that people in the legal profession do not advertise. I don't know whether that is still the convention, that you don't do the typical advertising that a normal
it's moderated.
A normal business entity would do. Like a car seller will say, this is the fastest car in Africa. I don't think that luxury is available to people in this profession. However, I need to share with you this part of the business. You see, you cannot whistle in the dark because nobody will see you, nobody will see where you are. So you must develop within the confines of your regulations a mechanism of letting the world know you are there. So for instance, I have seen a lot of people in this profession giving talks. They go to forums where sometimes they give free talks on a particular important issue. They make write opinions in local media. They are interviewed about particular current and important issues. So you must have a way of letting the world know that you are actually there. Then there is image. Customers are generally persuaded by the image of the person they see relative to the service that that person is offering. So there must be a profiling image for people practicing law. Don't be outrageous. Don't be outrageous to shock and awe people with another look that is different from the from the look that people in your profession are known by. Because image in a way is everything. Yeah. Then you package what you offer. How does a legal practice get packaged? It gets packaged by the look of its premises, by the look of its company profile, by the look of the business cards that the officers in that firm are presenting to people, by your social media appearances, all that stuff. So if you want to run a successful practice, don't ignore these things. Make a checklist of them and ask, as far as my social media is concerned, have I done it? As far as my appearance in mainstream media, am I doing anything? As far as in print media, am I doing something? So all these things support the core work of providing legal services. Again, this is a subject which is going to be a big discussion for us, because even if you look at something like just social media alone, we spend a whole day, sometimes 2 days, just teaching that. But again, as I said, this session is really just to give people awareness of the things that exist. Now, these words you're seeing here, these are used in a typical business. How do you deliver the service? When a customer picks up your service, how does the customer get served? You see, in your own case, if a customer walks through the door, how is that process of giving the customer the service that they have come to receive? Now, one of the futures, another slide coming along is about business operations, so we're going to spend some time discussing that.